Welcome to SDH's coverage of the USL-W League. With continued expansion going in the league in August and September, what we're doing is when new teams are on board, we catch up with some of the hierarchy and some of the names to know when it comes to adding these franchises as they look to launch with 30 teams for their inaugural season in 2022. A bit of a primer to go backwards a little bit. 8 founding clubs were announced back in June in Chattanooga, Greenville, Hartford, Caw Valley FC, Minnesota Women's Soccer, Queensboro FC, South Georgia Tormenta, and Washington, D.C., led by D.C. United's ownership group. On June the 23rd, USL announced the addition of a W League team in Spokane that is set to kick off play as early as 2022. Then, this past week, 2 more announcements came to the fore, and we're going to catch up with folks in each of these cities. First one that is up is Asheville City. And Asheville City SC is announcing that they are coming into the USL-W League as well for the inaugural season in 2022. You've had the opportunity to hear from Asheville City and a lot of the principals involved with them as they've continued to grow in the southeastern footprint when it comes to the sport of soccer. We caught up with Lydia Jackson, Asheville City SC's technical director, to find out more about this decision. First question, I guess, is probably the easiest one. When it came to all of the framework to get something like this done, when did these conversations start and what was the process like to get it to the announcement?
I think the USL had reached out because they know the professionalism of our club and that we're always trying to improve the women's game. And so, we just really aligned with the mission and really believe that they're going to improve the women's game through adding this league. So we're super excited to join, and we'll see how it goes.
For those not familiar, and those of us at SDH, we've gone up and seen Memorial, and we've been there to hang out with Asheville City, and as we refer to it when they broadcast the matches, Mystery Soccer Theater 3000, just because it has its own identity. And for folks who haven't seen it, I would recommend watching a match, going to a match A, but then watching a match after it's being broadcast. For those that don't know about the fabric and what soccer means to Asheville and to Western North Carolina, go into that for folks.
Yeah, Asheville's a unique soccer, hotbed. We have a lot of adults playing, adult recreation soccer here, and a lot of youth players playing. And so you just have this great soccer community where people have such a high soccer IQ, and they come to the games, dressed in paint and smoke and loud and drums. And it's this awesome, intense, small, packed in. We pack everybody in at the games, and it creates a really awesome atmosphere for the players and the coaches.
What about on the women's side? I know that it's equally important there. What is that like, and seeing where it has grown to where it is now?
Yeah, I think we're unique on the women's side because, from day one, we've wanted to create the same experience that we do on the men's side to the women's side. So, we still have every food truck and every tent and everything, everything is the same experience at the women's game. And it's not like that when we play away matches, right? And so, the feedback we hear all the time from the other opposing team is they love to come to Asheville to play against us because of the environment. It's intense, it's loud and fun. And it just creates a great atmosphere to play the game.
When you look at what USL-W is as a part of the growth of the USL in general, I know that in your office somewhere, there is, it could be on your phone, you pull the stylus out from underneath, you write notes and you save it. It could be one of those magnetic boards that's on your fridge where you write things down in dry erase. Could be a big whiteboard off your shoulder that I can't quite see right now. Could be there in the office. I know that you've got a to-do list somewhere. Where is that to-do list right now? And how big is it to make sure that you guys are ready when the league comes online?
That list is, on a Google Drive document somewhere, but at the moment, no, we're always trying to improve our ways with Asheville City. We don't think that we've that we've found the magic, way to do how to run a club successfully yet. So we always are open to listening to our fans, to our supporters, to getting feedback from our coaches and players. And so every year we're trying to improve the way that we do things. And so, yeah, that list is, at the end of this season now, we're reevaluating and trying to improve our ways to go into next year. So it all begins again.
What's the first thing that you think you can tick off that list? Because like I said, I know it's fairly substantial, but what do you think that first thing is that you can sit there and just go and get it off the list?
Well, I think, we've done a really good job at building a culture. And so we don't really have to worry about that. I mean, obviously, we entrust our coaching staff to build that every year, but because it's so ingrained in the city of Asheville being so inclusive, and naturally our club, our mission and vision, it's just really easy and such a relief on my end as a technical director just to know that the culture is going to be one that is very positive and encouraging and inclusive to all.
As technical director, I know at the same time that you're looking for a certain kind of individual, not just a certain kind of player who can represent Asheville City both on the field and off in the community to make sure that everything is going along with the same thought pattern that Asheville City has as an organization. When I mention that kind of individual, who are you looking for?
People really gravitate towards us. We don't have to do a ton of recruiting, which is nice. But yeah, we know that we're just a stepping stone in a player's path, and we want to help players get to the next level. So we really look for players who are eager to improve their game. They're excited about being a part of a community more than just themselves, and want to play the game.
And at the same time, you're going to be getting some instant rivalries, with places like Tormenta and what they've been building down there in Statesboro. As just an example, SSA, who was going to be on later in this show, we're going to catch up with them and get their perspective as well. But you're going to be in these rivalries, but at the same time, you have all of these different communities that are in step with what you guys are doing too. It's like you're seeing the growth of the sport here in the southeastern United States specifically, where we're seeing it grow in Asheville, we're seeing it grow in Statesboro, we're seeing it grow in Chattanooga and Greenville and all of that. And now the USL-W gets to have those opportunities too in this growth market that is the southeastern United States with these teams coming online.
Yeah, that's the awesome thing is like you see our supporter groups getting a beer with the other supporter group, before the game and maybe after the game, depending on how everything goes. But there's a sense of camaraderie between, our communities. And yeah, it's serious. The whistle blows and it's game on, right? But at the end of the day, we realize that we're all on the same mission to grow the game. And so it's really awesome to see people set aside their differences and really come together and enjoy the game.
When it comes to season one, I know that we're a bit of a way off, but what are your expectations as a technical director when it comes to wins, losses, playoffs? Because I know that fans sit there and they gravitate toward that kind of stuff too. It's like, we want a championship, year one. They get into those kinds of things. As a TD, what are your expectations when it comes to the on the field product in year one?
Well, I don't think it changes. We've always had a mission to put out the best team that we can and to win. And I think one reason was so appealing about this W League was that it was going to be very competitive. And we want the best game every game. Winning 10-0 is fun, but not really for the players. I mean, maybe the first goal is fun and then you're like, oh, we're going to win this. So with the W League, you get a higher parity. Each game is going to be intense, and that means more, right? Winning a trophy after you've beaten like 10 really good teams, you feel really good about that. So that's our expectation, is put out a good quality team with a bunch of local players, hopefully more local youth players in the mix this next year, and do our best to win it all.
What's it been like for you to see the game continue to grow and evolve to where it is across the board right now?
It's amazing. I think we've come a long way. The fact that it's 2021 and people are now realizing that there's an investment in the women's game is a little bit challenging for me because I've always believed that. But no, we're excited, with the attention that we're getting. And I think one thing that's appealing about the USL is the attention and professionalism that their front office staff have, and that will be continued on into the women's game. I think it's an area across the board that's been lacking. So we're looking forward to having that support.
And at the same time, it's got to be, I would use the word refreshing, but at the same time, you sit there and go, well, it's about time, where the game is being treated with the respect that it deserves, especially with everything, how it gravitates on the national level. Everybody sits there and they see that beacon. Now you're getting the opportunity to do that in a local and a regional level in a league where there's going to be heavy competition across the board.
Right. And that's why, we're doing our part. When we started this club we had a goal for the men's side and a goal for the women's side. And for the women it was that we wanted to create a pathway, for a local Asheville girl to be on the U.S. women's national team one day. And so this is how we do that, is we create a really, intense professional training environment for players to develop, and hopefully go on to play at, the next level at NWSL after, their college or season with us. So we think we're taking the steps to do that, and it's our way to grow the game.
After that announcement was made, one more side came on board that is here in the southeastern United States. The Southern Soccer Academy has been added to it as well. They will be in line for the inaugural season in 2022 as well. We caught up with the executive director of the Southern Soccer Academy, Simon Davey, to find out his perspective on SSA becoming a part of the USL-W League as well. And of course, I got to ask a question about his past as a player at the very end. My first question is, how did this relationship come about? And I know that there are conversations where SSA is involved in other aspects, but why go down this avenue?
Well, I think from our perspective, we've been a USL-2 club now. We had a franchise just before the pandemic hit. So we missed one season in the summer on the men's side. So this year was our inaugural season. And we were really impressed with the way the USL, their business, their model, the criteria, everything that we have to do for the USL2 in terms of standardization of staff, players, recruitment, game day, match day. It was of the highest standards. And from my background in England, working professional clubs, it was sort of refreshing to see an organization of that level, which then led us into going into the USL Academy. And we had the first season this summer with our USL Academy, our U19s, and we won that league. Standards were great. Criteria was good again. We've just built a new facility. And then for us, it was a natural progression when we knew that they were going to do the W League, and the way they run their business. For us, it was a natural progression to have gender equality and ensure that both our men's and women's programs had a program that equivalent.
For those that aren't familiar with the Southern Soccer Academy, what's the best way to put a bio on the board so folks know where you are in the footprint of soccer here in the Southeast?
So in the boys game, we have the MLS Next Academy, obviously the highest level in boys, and in the girls, we have the Girls Academy, which is normally the Girls DA. So that'll be our first year this year in the Girls Academy. As a club, we're close to 10,000 players. So we span all across Georgia. We have divisions. We have 9 divisions, one as far east as St. Simons, Jekyll Island. And we go as far north as Dalton, Calhoun, Cartersville. But the bulk of our programs are in the Atlanta metro area: Kennesaw, Marietta, Dallas, Buckhead, Noonan, DeKalb.
What's it been like for you to see the game grow to where it is now, especially here in the southeastern United States? Because I think, if I remember correctly, you're talking about, for SSA specifically, around 8,000 players with all of the locations that you have. And you're not just in the metro. You mentioned what's going on up towards Chattanooga and where Dalton is.
Yeah.
That's a hotbed with high school, and St. Simon's and down there on the coast. What's it been like to see the game spread out from the large metropolitan areas and go into those places like a Dalton or down on the coast?
Yeah, I think what we did as a business plan was to merge with other clubs, predominantly through the US. Clubs of a certain stature get certain programs, and that's difficult for them, for kids in Calhoun, LaGrange, Dalton, and towards the coast of St. Simon's. It's hard for them to access high-level programs. So the business model for us was always to partner, merge, acquire clubs that became SSA divisions. And what we've found is a lot of our top players have come from those locations. Players that have been playing in their local clubs, not had access, have been killing it in their leagues. And we're able to tap into that community and get them playing on the top level teams. And we started off with maybe 2 or 3 clubs, then it went to 5 clubs, then to 9 clubs, all becoming SSA. And what we try and do is when they get to the age of 13, we start pooling them players to become the elite teams. And at 13 through 19, it's either they're in the MLS next, they're in the Girls Academy, and then obviously with the acquiring of the USL franchises, we then bring them back as alumni or exceptional kids in our U17, 18, 19 programs that have the experience to play in these leagues.
What's it been like for you, I guess, specifically since we're talking W League, from the women's game and the girls game, and for the boys and men's sides as well, to see those graduates continue to grow and reach higher and higher and higher places, and then also be able to come back and give back to SSA through everything that they've learned, and to keep those processes going?
It's fantastic. You know, when you have a membership that you want to create a family, and we have players that go on to play in high level universities and colleges and always want to come back in the summer to Atlanta. So we found now that a place for them to come back and give back, not only play in, we get them to mentor our summer programs. So they do camps and they help out with the younger kids. And what that has also transferred into players that have graduated out of colleges that are now coming back and working for us. So it's just a full cycle. We train them, we coach them, we send them off to good colleges. They come back, they play in our adult programs, and now we're finding that they're also now coming back to work for us. And it's all down to the family atmosphere that we're trying to create at SSA.
When it comes to the W League and their inaugural season 2022, and I ask this of all of the executives that I have for my 1v1s, I know somewhere, could be on your phone, you pull the stylus out, you write a note, you file it away, reach it back for later. Could be on a little dry erase board on the fridge where you write with the markers. Could be on a large dry erase board in your office that could be 6 feet wide that's got a lot of writing on it. There's got to be a to-do list for you somewhere. Where is that to-do list when it comes to this inaugural season in 2022? How big is it? And what's the first thing you think you can check off, as 2022 is really not that far away?
No, we're always trying to better ourselves as a club. So we have those to-do lists. We have where's the next step? Where's the next stage for us as a club? So we sit down as staff and do that. When we look at the W League, this year we played in an adult league, which was the WPSL. We played in that league this year. We had a successful season with our adult players. We had a fantastic staff that worked in that program. For me, the first thing I do now is try and add to that staff. We sit back down, we go through the pros and cons of the previous summer and say, where can we plug gaps? Where can we improve? What went well? What didn't go so well? How can we now, when we go into this USL-W League, how can we hit the ground running and make sure that we have every base covered? I'm very fortunate with the infrastructure we have. the membership and the board of directors I've got that, when I ask for things, they provide and they support. We have a fantastic facility now. We've just spent 3.2 million on a complex, which is soccer, purpose-built, lights, changing facilities, classrooms, fitness room. So it was geared for the whole membership, but it's such a great add-on for our adult programs when we can be out of a base that is owned by us and controlled by us.
So what's the timetable to click off those next couple of things that are on that to-do list?
We're continually monitoring it. We will now look at, the retention of the players from last year. So we sit down and look through that group of players and get them excited about next year's program. We then got to start looking at the tryouts, adding a few bits more around the training ground to make sure that the players are ready and we have the staff in place. And we have staff, but we want to add to the support staff as well. So ensure there's more females in the game. Looking at our alumni, looking at our internal staff that are female, and can they step up into that league and become on a bigger stage than they are with maybe a U9, a U14 girls team, who's ready to make that step up to work within that program.
One of the cool things about USL-W is that you're getting the markets that are a part of the growth of the sport here in the Southeast. You're getting where you are with your footprint. You have places like Asheville, where we've seen with Asheville City, and where Asheville is turning into a bit of a focal point in Western North Carolina. You've got what's going on in Statesboro with Tormenta. You have all of these markets really, and you're getting a natural rivalry created geographically when you dive in for the first season too.
Well, exactly. And it's sort of mirroring obviously with the USL Academy and the USL-2. So you get to know the staff, you get the rivalries. And as you say, it's similar markets. And for us, it's always building what we've got. And let's see, if we can become the best in each of those programs. But it's great that, we played Chattanooga this summer. Chattanooga went on to do very well in the women's program, the Lady Red Wolves, and that's becoming a rivalry. It's great for us. And then in the men's side with the USL-2 going to Asheville, which they produce an environment for their soccer program up there, which is fantastic. And I went to study how they did it with the USL-2 to see if we could replicate and improve on it. And, it's great that both genders are going to get that type of environment in a league that is sort of new, but it's going to be, it's going to be run well.
Last question for you, and this has nothing to do with SSA. I am, full disclosure, a member of the Swans Trust.
Okay.
And obviously, Steve Cooper leaves. Russell Martin comes in from League One. And I'm also a member of the Dons Trust with AFC Wimbledon. So I don't think I can necessarily mention the place that he came from as a man.
Yeah.
What do you see? I mean, obviously, there's going to be a bit of a growth period with Russell Martin in charge with Swans. Yeah. It was a rough first go in the first weekend. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Swansea have had a tradition of appointing managers that they can see are up and coming, have a belief, have a desire, have a philosophy that they believe in. Swansea with Brendan Rodgers, Roberto Martinez, every manager that's gone in there has done really well and has either moved on to bigger and better things. And there's obviously, they've seen in Russell that he has that capability, he has those characteristics. So it's sometimes people raise eyebrows. Is it the right appointment? Where's he come from? What's he done? But there are people behind the scenes that have the knowledge and they have the foresight to predict this. And to be fair, they proved that they picked the right people probably 9 times out of 10 over the last 6 or 7 years. So I trust that they've made a good decision. I believe with their win against Reading, winning 3-0, hopefully that could be the start of them now kicking on.
Adding to those two teams, Morris Elite SC was announced on Friday the 13th to join the W League ahead of the 2022 season. They're the first New Jersey-based club to join the W League. In catching up with Morris Elite SC's president, Vincenzo Bernardo, the USL-W League, found out that Bernardo says, quote, "Our goal is to impact the local communities in many ways on and off the field. The addition of a W League team is another great step forward for our club, but more specifically for our women's program. Proud to provide playing opportunities for top women's college and high school players in our professional environment. This is a historic day for our club. We thank all our families for their constant support," end quote. Morris Elite SC was founded by Bernardo back in 2016. The club started with 5 teams in their inaugural year. They've grown to 42 youth teams, all feeding up to a pre-professional men's team that competes in the Metropolitan Division of USL League 2, and now they have the women's team that will compete in the USL-W League as well. So once again, you have teams being added to the USL-W League as the league is sharing their expansion updates as they head toward 30 in 2022. Once again, thanks to our friends at Asheville City SC, thanks to our friends at the Southern Soccer Academy, and thanks to you for your continued interest and your continued love of the sport of soccer, especially here finding out more about the USL-W League. For Soccer Down Here, I'm John Nelson. Thanks for hanging out with us. Play it safe, everybody. We'll see you next time.